Hello everyone. I first of all want you to know that I have started this video too many times and I'm just not going to do it anymore. I I want to go ahead and just get started. I am here today to talk to you about something I've been wanting to talk to you about for a while now, and it is about the Real Housewives of New Jersey. This is the episode that came on last night. Um, and this is the episode where the ladies, they get together eventually on the boat. But it opens up with Teresa providing a medium at her home for the ladies. And quite frankly, I don't believe in mediums. I do not believe in sorcery, so I don't listen to it. I don't listen to it at all. I only listen to my Lord in heaven. And so I just know that in the scriptures, it tells me, and it tells anyone who reads them, that for us to stay away from sorcery and away from mediums. So I really don't like when they bring those things into the housewives. So whenever they bring those things in, I will not be covering those things. But I will talk about Jennifer, because Jennifer, whenever they go back to her house in a scene, and her mother is there and her father is there, and when her dad looked at her mother as she was coming in the door, he really smiled. I think he really loves her. We later learned that he is about 10 years older than her, because she was 16 when they met. She was looking to get out of the house, and over in their country, which I think is Turkey, I think they're Turkish, the marriages at that time were arranged, and she was always having to clean the house and do a lot around the house. She had a lot of responsibilities, and to escape some of those responsibilities, she married the first thing that came along, and it was this man who, had they been in the US, that would have been a very contentious issue, because she was 16 and he was 26. So that would not have happened here, even in those days. So, because the dads back then didn't go for that. So, but Jennifer, I really appreciated how she explained that to her 13-year-old daughter. I love the openness that she and her husband have with their kids, and the love. He is so delighted in his children. When they were getting up that morning, coming downstairs for breakfast, the look in his eyes to see his daughters, he's a delighted man. He loves his children. And so I liked that about him. And Jennifer, later on, as I just shared with you, when she's explaining it to her 13-year-old daughter, I thought that was very appropriate. Some people may disagree with that. If you do, you can put it in the comments and just let me know your thoughts, because I'm always interested to know what other people think about these situations. I really believe that this really stapled it for Jennifer. That made her really a head or a top of the line housewife for me, because she's very open about her family. Also, she's just very open. She shares her culture with us, which is something that we didn't get from Wendy on Real Housewives of Potomac, as you recall. Wendy was more pretentious about her culture, and we didn't get enlightened by the differences that may happen in Nigeria than what happens in the US, even with Black America. So I really love whenever there are different cultures within the housewife franchises, and that the people open up about those cultures for us. And Jennifer's always very good about doing that. And not to mention, I know people have made comments about her husband. I think he's very debonair. I really do. He's very debonair, very classy. I really like their family. Um, so I want to also bring up the fact that when Jennifer comes back, whenever Jennifer is speaking with her mom outside, I notice her husband says, really directs her to take her mother outside, and he stays in and he talks to her dad. And did you catch the expression on his face? It's kind of, sometimes I say the expressions cross the line. They go into the fourth wall, because you can tell that sometimes they're thinking, okay, we're really going to do this with the cameras here. Because when the mother and the father started arguing early on, the cameras switched to his expression, and he was thinking, oh no, are we really going to do this now? You could just see that. However, I do like the fact that he was very, direct with the father, and saying, if it weren't for, if they had not been in their culture, then they probably would have been divorced by now. And I could see that very much so. And I hate it whenever people say they are not happy in their marriages. The reality is, Jennifer's mother was not happy before she got married. And she got married looking for happiness and didn't find it. So her happiness didn't start with her husband. However, he's been the one who's been there for more than 30 years. So she has taken it out on him. So he's really taken a beating from her. He has taken a beating from her, and that's why he said bull, he said bull S, okay? So that's the psychology behind that. So moving on, we now have Teresa and Joe are dating, right? So Teresa is in her daughter Gia's room, and you know what is alarming to me? Is Gia curses in front of Teresa. She curses in front of Teresa. That is inappropriate and disrespectful. Even as a grown adult woman, I didn't curse in front of my mother. I think as a grown adult woman, I may have said, S-H-I-T or, one or two times in front of her. And it was really to get a laugh out of her, because I had never done that. So, I just think it's inappropriate and disrespectful. And I know that today's society thinks very different. And I just want to say to you that just because we get into a different year, because time moves along, it doesn't mean that the values should decrease. Our values should not decrease just because time is moving along. We should hold on to strong values. Are there other things that should move forward, like technology and the way we think about the way we eat? We should be growing. But that's all going to happen soon enough, because Christ is coming back soon. I digress. So Teresa and Joe are dating, and it was really funny. Did you guys catch that whenever Teresa said to Joe, hey, I hear you're dating, he denied the attorney. He denied that he was dating her. He said, she's just my lawyer. She's just my attorney. However, the way her daughters presented it to her was, Dad told us about his new girlfriend. That's how they initially presented it to her. And that's why she was like, hey, I heard you're dating. So when you hear a man denying a woman to another woman, and he's doing this in front of his kids, that means he wants to leave the door open in case Teresa is interested in coming back. And they were married for so long, and I know a lot of people have a lot of input about that. If they were to get back together, it would really be the right thing to do. In my mind, it would really be the right thing to do. I digress. Well, no, I don't digress, because if they get back together, he might be a changed man, like the way that Melissa and some of the other ladies were saying that he treated Teresa, and even some of the things that we saw on previous episodes, previous seasons, how he said things to her that were out of line. And at one point, it was very clear that he was cheating on her. It was very clear. The woman called him while they were out at a family outing, and Teresa runs over to the phone, as I would have done myself. And then he is like, oh, here comes that ITCH wife of mine, you know. So things like that were just disrespectful. And he knew the cameras were there. So he may have changed all those attitudes if they were to get back together, because now he's seeing that she will leave him. And even though I don't think it's going to happen, because I really think that Teresa's done with him. She's moved on. She probably likes to joke around. I hear you have a girlfriend kind of thing. But I really think she may have moved on from him and is really wanting to do some other things in her life. More power to her. So, going on here, we have the ladies get on a boat. And I'm trying to think, when did... Oh, no, yes, the ladies go on a boat trip. And I think Melissa doesn't show up for this trip, but Jackie does. And the ladies all look really good. One thing about these New Jersey housewives, they never fail with the fashion. Like, we can look at even RHOA and even some other housewife shows, and we can look at their fashions and say, okay, that's a little bit of a fail, okay? Oh my gosh, she's half-stepping. Or, look, you make all this money, you can't do any better than that. Because I love watching the fashion. I love watching the houses. I love being in their houses through the television and watching the furniture and what kind of artwork is on the walls. How does the stairwell curve, you know, all of those things. I love watching those things. So with the Real Housewives of New Jersey, their fashion, to me, it's like top. Even Jackie has great fashion, great taste. And you would expect her, being an attorney, to be quite boring, but she's not. She's not boring. She's right on time. And I think Jackie is a beautiful woman. Her and her husband make a beautiful couple, love their family. So they get on a boat. Teresa's a little late, and she comes in this, you know, printed jumpsuit, which really it's a beautiful jumpsuit. I wonder who made that. I liked it. And then Jackie has on a two-piece. It looks like a jumpsuit, but I learned on Watch What's Happening Live that it's a two-piece. It looks red or orange, but it looked really good on her as well. Teresa gets there on the trip, and let's see here. I don't think this is the boat. No, this is not the yacht. I don't think this is the yacht Frivolous. Well, whatever. At any rate, it was a beautiful scene of water. I love whenever they go to the Jersey Shore, because it takes them outside of the wooded area. And we get to see both sides. We get to see the ocean and the wooded area. But it was a beautiful scene on the boat. Teresa starts talking to them about her new beau. And I have an issue with women just wanting to immediately know about another woman's sex life. I don't say that to my friends. Oh, how's the sex with him? I don't say that kind of stuff to my friends, because I'm not really interested in their sex life, you know. But, you know, to each his own. But Margaret asked that question. Of course, leave it to Margaret to ask that question, right? And Teresa is very open with them, and she says that they have not gone to that level yet. I believe her, but of course Margaret doesn't believe her, because that's not something Margaret would do. Had it been left up to Margaret, she'd have been done, went to that level first day, okay? In my humble opinion. But Teresa says no, and I do believe Teresa. She seems like she wants to have a friend and wants to date, but she doesn't really seem loose and easy to me. I think she talks about it on the show to give a different side to her. So, let's see here. What else? There is also another scene, let's see, where Jackie and Melissa are at Melissa's house, and they're talking about the venture on the water that day, and Melissa really doesn't she, at that point, actually lets Jackie know that her and Teresa had already talked about Teresa's new beau. And Jackie was like, oh, why didn't you tell us? But I really think that Melissa doesn't tell because she is learning to value the relationship that she and Teresa have developed, and it has come a long way, and she doesn't want to ruin it. So I hope that Teresa sees that in her, because in my humble opinion, again, Teresa's very narcissistic and delusional, quite frankly. Very narcissistic and delusional, meaning that every single thing has to go her way. So you can tell her mom and dad really spoiled her. They probably never taught her anything about other people or how to respect other people's feelings and thoughts and those kinds of things, because she really doesn't do it at all. And at least not with her friends. And to some degree, Joe, her brother, doesn't do it either, because we all saw in a couple of episodes back how he got upset with Melissa for walking ahead of him. And he's quite controlling. So whenever people are not reared to think about the minds of other people or to be considerate of their feelings, they do turn out to be controlling, narcissistic, and delusional, because they think every single thing is about them. And that's not a good idea to raise children with. You should always be teaching your children to share, to care about other people's feelings. That should start early on so that they have a really grounded place to go whenever they become adults and they're in certain situations, you see. They're able to have better conversations because those values have been instilled in them. Whereas a lot of children who get in trouble now, those values have not been instilled in them. That's why a thief thinks that it's okay to go steal from someone else when they see someone else has something they want. Mentally, they don't even understand, hey, it doesn't belong to you. Why do you want something that belongs to somebody else? You have to raise your children with confidence, to like themselves, to own whatever it is that they do, because they turn into road raging, crooked adults. Narcissistic, controlling, delusional, all kinds of things get out of the way. And we wonder why adults in the workplace behave in certain ways. And in my EEOC videos, which I hope that you guys will take a look at, I am beginning to talk and to peel back some of the things, because I've gone through a lot. A lot of it's going to be embarrassing to me, but I digress. I'll save that for those videos. At any rate, so they also go on, I'm sorry, back up to the boat trip. They planned, what am I trying to say? What happened on this boat trip? I think Melissa wasn't there. Oh, Margaret and, I want to back up a little bit, because Margaret and Jennifer get into a debate on the boat trip, because Margaret's ghostwriter is with her, and she is talking about her book. And in her book, she talks about her first boss that she had at 20 years old and how she felt like he took advantage of her sexually because she ended up dating him or having sex with him and things like that. And in a previous event, remember, her and Jennifer had a knockdown, drag out conversation about that. Not even a conversation, a verbal altercation about that situation. And I have to tell you, I know that people may not like Jennifer, but I love when she gets Margaret told. I do. I love when she gets Margaret told. And I know she doesn't always know how to read the room or read a yacht. So let the ghostwriter tell it. But I still like her comeback. The girl can throw some shade. RHOA ain't got nothing on Jennifer. If Kenya was to go up against Jennifer, and Jennifer's not scared, okay? And I love Kenya, right? But I love Jennifer too. I digress. I do want to say this about Margaret and my perception of Margaret, and this is alleged. I just think Margaret has always been a little loose in the pants. I just really do. I don't believe that she is reserved in that way. And even as a teenage girl, because physically I grew quick myself, older men would approach me. But there was something inside of me, inside of my mind, that always made me go tell my mother. Always. I would go tell my mother, my grandparents, and they would handle that situation. I always did. I would be like, so-and-so did this to me, or so-and-so said that to me. I remember one night I was coming home because I cheered. I was a cheerleader in high school, and I had my license, and I was driving my mom's car from the game, and I stopped at the service station to get gas. And we grew up in a country town, so this was just a little side service station. It was a lot of people there. I knew everyone at the gas pumps that evening. I knew the people who ran the service station, and they were white people. The W man who owned the station, it was called Vitos. Okay, I walked in, and he touched my boob. He literally did it intentionally. I was afraid to haul off and slap him, even though I wanted to. I went and I told my family, and they handled it. I mean, they didn't, lame him or anything like that, but he was handled, okay? So old men, they do take advantage of young girls. And as you just seen in my example, even old W men take advantage of women. I think sometimes men, when they see certain women who have certain aesthetics, they don't care. They will approach you if you look grown enough to be approached. So in that way, I do believe Margaret, right? I do believe Margaret. Had I known back then what I know now, I would have litigated that entire store. But I would have. And I don't know why my mother didn't even call the police. I think they just wanted to handle it. And then, there I was, senior in high school, getting ready to go off to college. They cared so much about reputation, and what that would do to me. But I would have made a mess of it. I may not look messy, but I can get messy. Okay? So, just wanted to share that with you because I can relate to Margaret in that way. That wasn't my boss, but I know how men do with young women. The last thing I want to say is Jen planned this mother and daughter, mother and daughter gathering, fellowship event, just so her mom could be around other people. And at the event, I saw it twofold because her mom is very open. She's not shy. Even at the first event that they had, I think the first or second season that Jennifer was on, her mom was there and her mom wasn't shy. She talks, right? But I think that it's twofold because the mom is having her own issues, right? And we heard her, be open and talking to the ladies, a little bit, communicating. At the same time, when Teresa showed her feelings and what she was going through with the loss of her mother, I think that also helped Jennifer's mother to see that she's not the only one who has issues. Because at first I was thinking, okay, maybe Teresa should not have come, or if she was going to come, she could have, brought Gia as a support. Or even one of the other ladies and their mom probably could have said, you know what, Teresa, you come with us. But I don't know. I don't know. She might not have felt comfortable doing that. She could have bought Gia though. But after seeing it and after thinking about it some more, I really believe that it helped her, it helped Jennifer's mother to see she's not the only one who has issues, that other people have different issues, but they still have issues. Or at least I hope that that hit home with her to some degree. So that's it. Next week, they, go through some other things. I don't remember what they go through next week. I guess I'll have to look at it. But I'm going to rate this one, like if I had, like on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I would give this probably a 4.5. That show a 4.5. New Jersey always brings it. I've never had a bored season with New Jersey. I've never had a season with New Jersey where I thought they needed to cancel it. Even when Teresa and Joe were going through their issues there, we wanted to see when they were swapping out, one going to jail and the other one coming out and vice versa. It's just, so they have always brought it. Even when Caroline was on the show and her sister and all of them, and they have withstood everything. And their fashion is good. And their homes are not overrated for them. Like some of the shows, their homes are overrated for them. I wouldn't say RHOA. I think that on RHOA, Porsha's home is perfect for her. Kenya's is perfect for her because it's paid for. Candy's is definitely perfect for her. Candy's worth like 40 mils, so that's perfect for her. But when Sheree was on there, I didn't like that. And people keep saying, okay, I think they should bring back Sheree. I disagree. Sheree is not up to par with housewife material. She's quite trashy, and I know people like her. However, if you go back and pay very close to the way she interacts and what she says to other people, she's not very intelligent. She's not very intelligent. And I like my housewives to be, even though I don't care for LVP, I like her on the Beverly Hills Housewives because she's intelligent. And she has the money, and she has the home, and she has the businesses, and everything she has obtained or attained has been on her own, her and Ken. So I like that. And Nene, at first I had some concerns about Nene on the shows, even though she started RHOA, and I didn't want her to leave RHOA, but I had some concerns about the way she was doing with her money as well. So I think now she's kind of come up to par with that to a lot of degree. And I don't want them to completely rule her out. I really don't. I would like to have her do a couple of things, like either apologize to Bravo or have her and Bravo do a sit down and have a conversation about where they can go from here, because she's one of the first OGs. And I don't like the way their relationship is now. I will say this about Nene. When she gets angry, the things she says, and people think that Kenya is bad, but Kenya is really just responding to Nene. You don't talk about women's genitals when you get upset. When you start to go that low, it means you're not smart enough to say anything relevant. So you have to say something about a person's aesthetics or their genitals or, things like that, or their clothes. If you're going to throw some shade, the best shade is to really read a person for who they are, their character. And if their character is intact and there's nothing to read, then don't read them. Just be humble and admit it. Hey, look, you're a great person. What can I say? Something. But this getting upset and saying things about people's aesthetics and, the lower parts of their body and That stuff is not good. And it really does make you look bad. Really does. Um, like Teresa doing what she did with Jackie. I think Teresa's kind of unintelligent as well. I really do. That's why she has a ghostwriter for her book. But she's good for Jersey's show. She's good for the show. Um, I like this set. I think they did a really good job casting the Real Housewives of New Jersey. And we'll probably be with them many seasons to come. Unlike RHOA, if they don't bring a whole new cast in there real soon, I really don't even want to see it next year for real. I'm ready for... It's time for Porsha to move on, first of all. Not that I don't like Porsha. I don't like... When it comes to Kenya and Porsha, I like Kenya better than Porsha because Porsha is violent, and I don't like violent women. But I think Porsha has grown, right? She has grown. She's matured. She's come a long way. And she realizes her era and she changes, unlike Kenya. Kenya doesn't. And that's kind of beginning to make me upset with Kenya and not really like her anymore. Because I'm trying to ride with her as long as I can. But she's really got a lot of work to do. Porsha, I really don't think she has a whole lot more to bring to the show. I think it is really time for her to move on. Even the people she brings on the show, those are her friends. So if it was just her and her friends, they could probably go have a different type of show someplace else and call it Porsha's Friends. You know, do a reality show that's not so volatile, where you see her and her friends just hanging out, you know, taking trips, shopping, writing books, becoming designers, singing, whatever they do. I would like to see her do something more positive and just move forward. And people keep saying they want Cynthia off, and I've never really wanted Cynthia off the show. I think that she really does somehow balance out the show. I think she balances it. Everybody can't be arguing and fighting and, you know, just acting crazy all the time. It's okay to have a wedding if you thought the wedding was boring. It's okay to have that character in the show as well. So I think Cynthia should stay if they keep anyone. I think Kenya has maybe 1 or 2 more seasons. It's time for Kenya really to start finding some other things to do. And that Kenya Moore hair care, I've been on YouTube. Some people like it, some people don't. She's going to need to improve that or get a new marketing strategy behind that product because it's not doing what it should be doing. Candy, I'm actually ready for Candy to exit. I am. I think Candy has some other talents that she can tap into and just move forward doing those things. But it's time for her to exit. I would say Kenya, Kenya, Cynthia, Phaedra, Apollo's new girl, and maybe even keep LaToya, not Drew. I'm not ready for... I don't want Drew back on at all. Drew is... No. But I know I was supposed to be talking about Real Housewives of New Jersey and I got caught up in Atlanta. So I'm going to let you guys go now. Please remember to comment, subscribe, like, and click the notification bell. Okay? Thank you.